Yo, what are you doing right now? We are going to get real about men's issues, who Jesus is, and who we are as men in Christ. We're going to hear Trey, Jeremy, Michael, and Brad break it down. These guys call themselves the Cussin Christians. All right, guys, what is going on? Are we rolling now?
Yeah, sorry.
My frontal cortex developed and I found Jesus all around the same time.
Okay, we got to say all that over again.
Sorry, dudes. I got a URI. Went to the doctor today.
A URI?
Upper respiratory infection. From
And you know why?
All that dust I sucked in.
Because all those Oreos you're eating.
The Oreo dust got him.
Wait a minute. The Oreos are supposed to be our secret.
Oh.
Did you see your son's look on his face when he Googled the logo on Oreo? Said what the meaning behind the word Oreo?
Oh, Garrett?
Yeah.
I don't remember. What does this look?
Oh.
I've seen that story the past month.
What is it?
Something satanic about the Oreo.
Of course.
The Oreo name and the logo.
Satanic.
Yeah, it's just
Everything.
something
Everything's
off the
satanic
wall.
anymore.
You remember
Yeah.
the weird little logo they had on the back of the Colgate toothpaste tube?
Yeah, yeah.
It had like 13 stars and a little moon guy, and that was supposed to be satanic, and they took it off. I don't know what it was supposed to be, but
Yeah.
you never know.
So brushing your teeth is satanic.
Yeah, man.
We focus. If we focus as much.
Focus as much on talking.
If we focus as much on Jesus as we do on the little demonic signs we think are being left behind by all these people, don't get me rolling.
Sure.
Find a demon behind every
There's a
rock.
demon everywhere, man.
I
True.
don't see anything about what you guys are talking
Yeah,
about.
you'll search tonight. You'll find it. And, and it didn't stop me from buying buy one get one free at Publix today. I've
On
got
Oreos?
I got
That doesn't happen, dude.
well, it was 2 for $8. That's what it was. 2
Oh,
for
that's
$8.
not BOGO.
Not quite BOGO,
No,
but 2 for $8.
Still a gift.
And I got the
That's
chocolate fudge filled and the peanut butter filled today.
Okay.
So
That's a third of what people earn in Mexico.
here we go. This is where we're going.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yes.
First of all, I wanted to vent about one of my pet peeves.
pet
Which is?
peeve.
I hear these guys all the time on sports broadcasts do it, whether it's a podcast or live on TV.
What grinds your gears?
Yeah, and they've been doing this for years. They'll say something like, when the 49ers are healthy, they're as good as any team in the league.
That is kind of weird.
That is the most long-winded way of saying somebody is mediocre.
Yeah, no kid.
Yeah.
You know, in the postseason, Tom Brady's as good as any quarterback out there. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He's way better. So why do you go out of your way to say that? I mean, would you say to your wife, say, on Sunday morning, babe, when you spend an hour getting ready, you're as pretty as any other lady at church?
Oh, man.
Would you say that? No.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
You listen, you'll hear it. You'll hear him talk. Somebody will say it this week.
It's a way for them to fill airtime.
Brock Purdy is playing as well as any other. No, he's not. He's playing better. That's why they're talking MVP.
Yeah.
That's garbage.
It's
with
garbage,
you,
dude.
man.
You'll hear it.
It's bothering you. Now that the Cowboys are looking pretty good,
Yeah.
you're kicking it up a notch.
Yeah.
In your whole analysis of the
serious.
analysts of the game.
Yeah. That and when they talk about somebody sticking their foot in the ground.
Yeah.
Have you heard that phrase?
Oh, yeah.
Stick his foot in the ground. I'm like, yeah, they all are.
Every play,
They're all running.
they're all running.
Or hitting their head on the goalpost.
Those cleats are going an inch into the ground every time
Stupid, dude.
their foot hits the ground.
Yeah, the obviousness of some things. Well, you almost caught it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we had a mix-up in communication between the receiver and the quarterback. So, no, it wasn't a mix-up between two of them. One of them screwed up.
Yeah.
Wasn't both of them. It was one of them.
Yep.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember what I said this morning when I woke up.
Sounds like you got a, what did you call it?
A URI.
URI.
I have
in
a
a
URI.
case of CRS. Can't remember shit.
I can't remember shit.
CRS.
Gosh, dog. Well, ho, ho, ho. This will be our last episode for Christmas.
Yeehaw.
It's here, right around the corner. You've been with your person for as many years as we have. What does Christmas giving look like to your person?
Well, I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I think for us, it's more experiences. Like we want to go somewhere. We want to get out of town and go to the mountains or do something that we create a new memory. Because things, like Jeremy says, if we want something, we just get it during the year. So it's not like we wait one time of the year to give each other something that we want. So
Yeah, last year we started doing just a little bit, not big stuff by any means, but stuff more like give each other in front of the kids.
right.
But it's stuff that we both already know it's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a secret.
Yeah.
Like this year, she wanted a stick vac, so I
Sweet.
got her a stick vac.
Nice.
Really? It was like 4 years ago. I got Donna. I got her a Roomba. She wasn't too happy about that.
So we got a shark.
You don't buy your appliances or like a wash. You don't buy them for Christmas.
It's too suggestive. It's like, why don't you clean up the house now? Here's a gift to
Or
help
your
you clean the
shit
house.
sucks. I'm
I
getting
didn't get
something robotic to do it for you because you can't clean a house.
Lane Smith thought it was the best gift
Lane
ever.
would.
Yeah, he
If
would.
he's listening,
if
he
he's
would.
listening, he would. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she asked for it though.
Okay. See,
Like, I
Donna
didn't just
didn't ask
randomly
for it.
get a vacuum and be like, here, this will
thought
help
it
you
was-
clean better.
I thought it was brilliant, man. I thought
Well.
it was brilliant. And last year I screwed up, fumbled the ball big time at the goal line, and I gave her a necklace that was hit. She just didn't like it, and so there's a long story behind that too. I don't have time to tell you about, but. So then I don't know, man. This year I'm like, okay, I think it's going to be an experience. I was thinking about that after I talked to you when I was
Yeah.
trying to snooze before that lady hit me in the head with the back of her airline chair when she reclined. And
You
hit
were
me in the-
pissed.
Oh,
I've never seen a look like that on her face.
well, I was leaning up like this, this far from the back of the seat, and then bam! And I just,
Nice.
He was sleeping.
I was so ready to get off a plane.
I've literally
yesterday.
reached up though. I've been on those planes that they recline way too far back.
Yeah.
And I've like reached up and tapped the guy on the shoulder and be like, "Hey man, I've only got about 3 inches back here. Like, you mind leaning up just a bit so I don't have to smell your hair?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. That's a good way to do it.
Air
Say, hey,
travel
cut me
is
some
the-
slack.
Air travel's the worst, man.
I know. It's been an amazing week since we last got together. I went to a wedding, celebrated a wedding of a niece up in South Carolina, and that was beautiful. Got some good bonding time with my 2 stepsons, which was awesome. And then Michael and I got on a jet plane on Monday, and we flew out to El Paso, Texas, and we went across the border into Juarez.
Did you just walk across?
No, we drove.
Climb over?
Could have.
Yeah.
Climbed over?
No, there's no way. That wall's too tall.
don't know.
Trump's wall is big.
Okay.
Big, tall.
It's the biggest wall we've ever seen. It's the
And
best wall.
There's
It's the perfect wall.
Armed personnel every 100 feet.
Yeah, up and down that wall.
So
with
it works
spotlights.
there.
Yeah, it works there. They have the manpower that's around. You just see 2 extremes. You're on Interstate 10. You look to the right. You see the high-rise office buildings and the big, beautiful baseball stadium.
Every
and
restaurant you can imagine.
Everything there, and then you look 3/4 of a mile to the south, and then there's the Rio Grande, and then it's poverty and slums.
And it does. Looking at it from the border, from El Paso, doesn't do it justice.
No, it
until
does
you're
when
there.
you get into Juarez, and but just a little background because to bring up the topic that we're going to talk about today, because he and I were we were humbled. That's the only way I could think of it. We were humbled, and oh, by the way, our podcast brought to you by Dots Pretzels today.
And wonderful
Dot.
And
chili roasted pistachio.
yeah, and we had the Zach Williams event, guys, and we know what an awesome thing that was. And there's a couple that moved to our area about a year ago that my wife befriended the lady, and then out of the blue, I get an amazing gift to help us sponsor Zach Williams. And this couple came. I'd never met him. I met her when I delivered the tickets to their home, and boom, after the Zach Williams, I get a note just saying, one of the most powerful things I've ever seen. Would you guys like to get together, you and your wife? And we met, and he told me about this mission that he started in Mexico in the early 2000s, and in Juarez, and that he and his wife started. So then he said, "I'd love for you to come down and check it out. Maybe there's a way that MPACT can get involved with it." And we support our local rescue mission and the homeless mission for women. Helen's House, the safe place for the women rescued out of sex trafficking, all that. And I thought, that might be an opportunity to go. So Garrett flew in from Los Angeles. Michael and I flew in from here. And we went across, and it just slapped me in the face, man. We were immediately from 737, flying across the country, complaining about what food we eat, to total poverty, dogs running everywhere, raw sewage in the streets. And trash everywhere. No
And people stand at
paper.
the bus stops, and there's
Yeah.
bags and piles. And
Wow.
And we're driving to one of the community centers and look up. Well, there's someone dead laying on the side of the road. Wow. And then we turn a corner, come into the community center. They open the gates, and there's 7 or 8 middle school girls working on a dance routine right across the street from a dead man laying on the corner. Right? And
he was there when we left 5 hours later.
5 hours later, he was still there.
Wow.
He's still there dead. The police were there next to his body. And I know you go into India and you've seen some horrible things. But it's been a while since I've been to Juarez and seen it. And most of the time when I went to Juarez in the past, I went in and I went to the area where you could go to a restaurant and get a beer and go to the horse race track and, the stuff you do on the other side. But, man, we pulled into this place and these kids mobbed our van. They were so happy we were walking in there. And they had this joy about them, dude. And they're living in hell. That's what it looks like.
And they don't know it.
And and we started thinking they don't understand how poor they are. They don't get it. And Michael got inspired to start talking about Jeremiah. You want me to read it? You want?
Go ahead.
Jeremiah 29:11, and just about the hope that he's promised us. Is it different for us in America because we're so well off? And what's their hope there in Juarez, Mexico, or in Bolivia or Peru? Or
Is it comfort, hope, or is it
Salvation.
heavenly future, heavenly hope?
I think it can be everything, right?
Tell them what Garrett said.
Yeah, I'll let y'all talk, and then
Go ahead.
Garrett just hit me upside the head. But y'all go ahead.
Yeah, it's kind of cool we're covering this topic too, because you guys sent it out. Obviously, I read up on it yesterday, and then I've been having some success at work, but I haven't crossed a lot over the finish line. Like it's getting that piece. And I woke up this morning, client passed on another person, and I was like, damn it, I was getting just like deflated. Like first thing in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, you pick your phone up, client's already said don't want them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now I got to call this recruiter who sent me so many people. The same thing keeps happening. I mean, it's a tough employment market out there. So I just got thinking about it, and I was thinking about Jeremiah, and then I was thinking, it's funny, all the negative things in our life don't exist without the positive. And what do I mean by that? So darkness is a concept. It's not an actual thing you can prove. The way you measure darkness is by the amount of light in the room. That's how you tell if it's dark. So without light, you cannot have darkness, right? Because light's the thing that exists. You can measure it. It has protons, it has photons, whatever those things are that you can measure in the room that tell you that it's light.
Gotcha.
But without it, it's just absence and emptiness, which is what we call darkness. It's a concept, actually. So you can't prove darkness because there's no way to prove it. So then I started going down the path of, wealth. Wealth is a concept. Because when we think of poverty, and I actually used an example, I wrote something today on it, of some of these remote areas in like Africa and these islands where people, they don't know the outside world, right? We look at them and say, oh, they're so poor. And then we measure our own wealth against other people. And here we are living in 6, maybe a 7-digit house right here in Vieira, Florida. And we see them as poor. But to them, they're rich. They have everything they need. They have clothes, they've got food, they've got weapons, they've got shelter. They're in this jungle. We assume they're poor. They're not poor. That's just a concept. So without wealth, we can't have poor. Because how do you measure somebody's poor?
Okay.
By the amount of dollars that are in their bank account, right?
Yeah.
So these negative concepts don't exist without the positive concept being there as well. They can't, because the way you measure the negative is by the lack of the positive. So I think it's all going in line with what you guys are talking about. So when you talk about the kids in Juarez, they don't know. And that's like when I went to India and stuff like that, and you guys have been other places too. When you talk to them, they don't know they're that poor. Like the ones that are really poor, it's the rich people, the ones that have things.
Yeah.
They're the ones that realize
Right.
where their situation is. But you find somebody that's desolate, poor, but doesn't know about it, they're happy. They have less worry.
That's a good point.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was long.
And who was it on our trip? Was it Brad or Julie that said these kids don't have a concept of it until they get a hold of a cell phone?
Jerry.
It was Jerry said.
I asked Jerry, I said, when do they realize?
And when
that
they
they're
get a hold
poor?
of a cell phone, they're wow. And he said things start changing for those when they're in their teenage years of, oh, I want more. I want to get this. I want to get that. And, the one community center the second one that we went to where the dead man, and the dead man wasn't there out of foul play. He was a homeless man that had addiction issues, and everyone felt it just caught up with him, and he died on the street corner. And we're looking at these girls and boys, and they're just so full of life, and my heart's breaking inside because half of them don't go to school at all. Some of them are orphans. But you know what? They all have clothes on. They all have shoes on. They have Michael Jordan stuff on their bodies and all this stuff. And
They're eating.
and everything else. And he brought up Jeremiah 29:11, and this version says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you. You will seek me and find me, and when you seek me with all of your heart, and I will be found by you, declares the Lord, and I will restore your fortunes and gather you from all the nations and all the places where I've driven you." So what's that hope look like for this 13-year-old girl in that situation moving forward? They told us in the one community center that was in the more hot spot of Juarez, the cartels will recruit the younger boys. And if the younger boys give in to that, there was 3 of them. They gave into it, and then they found them dead later.
They came out of the community center.
They came out of the community center where we went. The girls, they're coached heavily on having their heads on a swivel because they will get picked up for the sex trade.
Yeah.
And the hope that we have here in our bubble versus the hope that they have, it's got to be a hope in your salvation and moving forward in the Lord. And Garrett even kicked it up a notch. I can't remember his exact words, but you fill me in. But it's bigger than just going to heaven.
We get to live the kingdom here on earth.
We get to leave kingdom here now so others can know the hope. And just by us being there, being a light to these kids, maybe there was something else planted in them to get them to move forward in their school. I mean, this is a Christian organization. But then as soon as I walk out the door and I see mangy old dogs walking around and the kids go to the wrong dog, they'll get bit. Then I saw a mom walking across a sewer-filled street with her 2 little toddlers walking through raw sewage. And, boy, it just hurt my heart. And how do we capture all this and give this hope?
And I know there's a lot of people that twist this scripture to mean
money. And it ain't it. Yeah.
And so, and I think that that's wrong because it's not. And that's why I asked you that question. Is it a future and a hope? Is it monetary? Is it homes? Is it cars? Is
a lot.
Well, looking at the context of that scripture, when
you look at what happened before.
Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar had carried the Israelites into exile.
Right.
And so Jeremiah, he basically, what God said through him was that you're going to be there for like 70 years.
It says right below, for 70 years, in Babylon will be completed.
Yeah. But he told him to settle in there, to build homes, to marry. Like he's kind of like, deal with it, but I'm going to give you a future and a hope. Like eventually I'm going to rescue you and take you out of that.
Right.
Jerry and Lisa have been a part of this for 20-some years. The future and a hope that they're giving them started with absolutely nothing.
Right.
A vision from Lisa's father.
Yeah.
So they've gone from nothing, just like everybody else around them, and they've built these centers, and they're giving them that future and a hope. They're giving them hot meals. They're giving them schooling. That's their future and a hope is about Jesus, and they're realizing that. That's why they can run around. I mean, I'm still hacking up.
Oh, I went to the doctor 2 hours ago, man. I got cough syrup for tonight.
I'm hacking up dust, and they're running around in it, and they love you.
And think about Jesus when he came, right? I was just looking up Matthew's where I went to because we were talking about does that mean wealth and the hope? I mean, he tells the rich man. There's the guy's asking him, in, what is it, Matthew 19? He's talking. The guy asked him, how can I get into heaven? What do I need to buy? What do I need to do?
Yeah.
He's like, give it all up.
Right.
Sell everything.
Yeah.
And then follow me. And then he says to the disciples later on, it's harder for a rich man to get through heaven.
Yeah.
Than, a camel through a needle or something. He's telling us the answer to Jeremiah in that statement to me. He's saying, hey, the riches aren't what I'm about, right? Like you have it harder if you have more. The hope is me. I'm that hope.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to follow me and I'll get you through it. And then the reward will be at the end, Right. So I think that's why we're called also, if we're given the wealth on earth, we're supposed to use it for good. I don't want to get into a tithing conversation, but, we should use our gifts. Like you guys flying down there, you're showing them, hey guys, this is what the outside world's like. There's people out there that are nice and good and that will love on you just to love on you. You know,
obviously you can't outgive God, but it's His anyway. So that's the philosophy we need to. That's the desire we need to have.
You hope that would become the natural part of who we are as we grow in the knowledge of who we are in Christ.
Well, and it's when you give. If you give expecting to receive, you're not giving it in the name of Jesus. He gave everything, not expecting to receive a thing. What he received in return for giving everything was the worst punishment that anyone could ever endure.
Yeah.
Like that's what he was giving for. You know what I mean? So to think that we can give and should expect anything in return, it's a barter system. It doesn't work like that.
No.
Right.
No.
You know.
Well, everything Jesus was about was getting us back in right standing with the Father, and it's like the disciples, everybody around him still had this earthly perspective, and they always thought that he was talking about material things, but his
That's a good point.
His goal and his vision was always like the ultimate thing is that we know God and that we're in right relationship with him so that we can live with him forever in heaven. And the other stuff is gravy. If you have material things, okay, that's fine, but that's not what he was about.
Right.
Because again, the ultimate thing is what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? So that's what Jesus was all about. But obviously he does bless people at certain times, certain places. But it's not promised to us that if we do A, B, and C, God's going to give us 3 cars and all that.
Well, actually, what he promised us was just the opposite. He goes, "You who follow me are going to have it the worst."
Yeah.
You know.
Remember the verse? Hey man, you want to come with me? Oh, that's fine. The fox has a hole to go to. The bird has a nest to go to. I ain't got
Son of
nothing.
Man has no place to
I
lay
got
his
no
head.
place to lay my head. And I don't know why, but those type of verses hit me these past few days, because unless I'm camping
By choice.
I have never had my head without a pillow on top of underneath it.
And your house isn't made out of pallet wood.
No, it's not made out of a pallet. Oh, those homes bothered me the worst.
my gosh.
Because I kept thinking of one of those little beautiful children going in there and trying to stay warm. Because they're starting to sell. You walk in and the vendors on the street are selling busted up pallets for firewood, and I saw those pallet homes where they set them up and they put plywood along the outside, and it was like, oh my gosh, one of these kids might be sleeping there tonight. Yeah, it just ripped me up.
Did you guys have any of the thoughts about why does God allow suffering? Like that kind of thought processes?
I thought more about what Michael was talking about of what do these kids feel their hope is. I didn't really get to thinking that. For some reason, the past 10 years, my mind just doesn't go there about the suffering piece. It just doesn't.
Where my mind goes with that is that how people are governed, and when you have selfish people that are corrupt and they don't care about those around them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the opposite of God's system in his heart. And you see people end up in extreme poverty like that because their government doesn't care about them. They're only concerned about themselves.
Yeah.
And so, you have people just living in these horrible conditions.
Yeah.
And because people aren't, if the people at the top followed godly principles and they knew the Lord, that country would look different.
Man, Mexico definitely doesn't have that.
Yeah,
they're run by the...
That's the other thing that really pissed me off is that the Mexican government is so corrupt. There's no infrastructure. We're driving through chuck holes the size of a car and trying to maneuver. Jerry was trying to maneuver and
we're in a van that's not too stable.
11 people in a van, and it's like all the government cares about. And I don't care about your politics, because it isn't about politics. Whether how many millions are coming across the border, I don't care about that. I care about the fact that as our role as believers is to be that servant on the road. Patch up the guy's wounds, put him on a horse, go to the hotel and pay for his staying until he gets back. That parable alone is how we're supposed to act. Yeah. And that's not just Juarez, that's everywhere we're at.
That's everywhere.
And so I don't care what your politics are. These kids, and obviously it has opened my eyes to the wealth that I have. And even though I'm not considered rich.
No, I'm not. Yeah, we aren't. And look where we are.
I think it's a combined household income of $50,000, top 3% in the world.
Yeah. They're making $24 a day in these factories outside of Juarez. $24 a day. As we circle off and we see this poverty, it's hell on earth in a certain way.
Right.
But we see when we pulled up, these kids mobbed us. we were showing them how to put on a baseball glove. They'd never done that in their life. They, te gusta baseball? They didn't know what I was talking about. I said, te gusta football? They oh, yeah, football.
That's football.
Soccer football. And, we were trying to show them how to. Garrett was trying to get them to line up to run routes with a football. They had no clue what to do. I say, hey, man, do a button hook 15 yards up. You know what to do, right? Boom. I'm letting it go when you're at 10 yards. He'll get there.
Easy.
What did you say? I said it may take a while, but he'll get there.
I moved good
Still
for a big
running.
guy.
You did when you were in football.
The hope that I saw in this place where, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. These kids have been surrounded, the Quicks, Jerry and Lisa. We had Julie and Brad Czar. I can't remember what their last name was. They have put in place these locals that run these community centers. They're smart people. They cook for them. They teach them. They counsel with them. They give them the Bible scriptures. They do all these things. So my hope is wrapped in them, and that this mission continues. And then you hear a couple of great stories about the girl that got out of high school and then got the scholarship to go to a local university and try to better herself. And that's where I'm going. We want to help pay for that kid's college somehow. How can we pull something together through friends and family or whatever to give a scholarship to get them through? Just getting that kid from that one level to the next, where the cartel, they skip that cartel cycle.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's the boys, and then keep those girls safe where they're not getting picked up off the street for just god awful things. And man, it just kind of ripped my heart up when we were leaving. They were saying goodbye. They were giving us nugs and hugs, but they're doing wonderful things at Amigos in Cristo. And I urge you to check out their website, give to them to help them this time of the year as they're trying to finish off their year of fundraising. We're going to put them on our website as a partner, and we're going to be working through that process the next month. We're going to be meeting with them on Monday to talk a little more details. But this hope we have, how is it relative in the big picture with those that are so downtrodden like that don't know they're downtrodden?
That future and hope is eternity.
And it just started.
This life is only 10 minutes long when you compare it to eternity.
To live as Christ and to die as gain. So that's the ultimate hope, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting, when you go to Christian funerals of like real Christians, like people that are Christian, not the Christian funeral where it's like, did he believe? We think so. Let's see if we can pray him up real quick. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you see the people that are happy. A lot less tears. Obviously there's sad memories, and I think all of us have gone through that recently.
Yes, very recently.
Well, I know you just had the year anniversary of your mom passing, and mine's
ago.
coming up in 2 weeks when my dad passed.
That's right.
Has it been a year already?
Yeah, it's been a year, but his memorial service really was a celebration, and all their friends, they were all Christians, people that had been in the church. It was wild just how positive that could be.
Right.
Because before that I never fathomed that it could be such a positive experience, but it was all for God's glory. And man, I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's the future and the hope, and
Yes.
that was my whole point when I was talking to him, because that soothes my soul more than we got to give them, whatever, flat screens or none of that. They don't care. They picked up a flat soccer ball in the yard, and they were playing soccer everywhere. And the amount of dust, I'm like,
the dust was oppressive.
It was.
You could
It's
see
in
it.
the- it's in
You
the
could
air.
see it hovering over the city, and
Like a haze.
I forgot
bad.
what West Texas was like. Tulsa might have been like that sometimes, but not too bad. West Texas, Midland, San Angelo, Lubbock. Had my toothbrush in my backpack in college, so when I got to the building where my class was, I'd go in and brush my teeth during the sandstorms and stuff. I remember that. But there's a hope.
I don't know if I brushed my teeth the whole time I was in college.
Well, that's a West Virginia thing.
West Virginia.
The alcohol cleaned your teeth.
That's what I figured. I had Listerine every night.
It kills the germs.
Shoot.
This hope, Peter writes about it. Always be prepared to give a reason for your hope. And even if you're downtrodden, those kids kept singing songs about their hope. And it touched me so that I walked away from there learning a heck of a lot more from them than they'll ever learn from me. Also, although he was trying to throw some high-speed fastballs with that shoulder,
It's bad.
And he after about 4 or 5, he goes, "Okay, I'm out."
I can't. I'm so sore right now.
Boy.
I'm what an idiot.
But
I still got it though. When you think about it,
we got hope for you recovering
That's right,
and
baby.
making a comeback. But
But you know, when they grasp that hope, that's eternal. It's not going to wear out. Like
Right.
if we feel pressure to buy them things and to get them stuff, this stuff's going to wear out eventually, and then it won't work anymore. And then what? Like you can't have your hope in those things. So if they really grasp that eternity with God, that's why Jesus came to die for them. That's the eternal hope that they can always have hope in and look forward to.
yeah.
Well, you know, it's I need to look the stat up to see it, but if you look at suicide rates, I'm almost positive it's higher with higher income.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because you lose something, you think it's all over,
Right.
and it's not. And again, I have to look it up. Somebody can fact check me, tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. But I'm just telling you, like, if you look at like the people that are killing themselves in America today, if it's not drugs, like that's not suicide, right? Like you look at it's people that are kids that are depressed over their things.
Yeah.
It's adults depressed over their things, their financials.
Well, I heard somebody on a podcast talking about some of these rural tribes in Africa. They don't have a concept of depression or suicide,
Right.
Because there's not a competition there to have the things, and they're not measuring themselves constantly against others like we do in the Western world. So
Right.
a lot of them they don't know
I'm
what
sure they
depression
know
is.
what fear is, getting their ass chased by a lion. That's for sure.
That's
But
that's different.
No depression or anxiety.
Sure.
Well, yeah, just this time of year, Christmas time, these children were just weighing heavy on my heart, thinking, and they're all excited about Navidad. You know, they singing songs, and all excited about that. And they had a manger scene up in front of the Fine Arts Center, and their Christmas lights and decorations were up. The kids still had the same amount of wonder coming from their eyes as my son did when he was 5 or 6 years old. Just the circumstances are drastically different. So my heart goes out. We want to just say thanks to the Quicks,
Fantastic.
Jerry and Lisa, two of the most amazing people I've ever met for letting us go along with them to see what their passion is. And I'm looking forward to discussing with our board of directors and others about how Impact Men's Ministries is going to help be a part of them. Whether we get a crew of big old burly guys like us to go help them on a building project later in the year. They did have 2 of their guys there that were like construction type guys, contractors, taking measurements of a couple of additions they're wanting to do. So I think they're going to be going through a fundraising process to get that going sometime next year to help improve the facilities. So definitely want to be a part of that and maybe help them out as well with resources, financial from us too, as we see fit. But all started because they came to the Zach Williams concert.
That's awesome, dude.
And so
That's very cool.
And the last thing before we go, he and I are flying back yesterday, and we got into Orlando Airport, right?
Glad you
This is
remembered
about
that.
hope, okay? Because our trip ended beautifully as we had to wait on the girls that we were with. They were on another flight behind us. They were about an hour behind us coming back. So he and I had about an hour to kill, and we went up to the bar at the airport.
Hang on, preface that. We couldn't get into Chili's.
We couldn't. We were going to go
What?
to. It was Ruby Tuesday.
Ruby Tuesday,
We were
okay.
going to go into Ruby Tuesdays, but the line was 40 people deep.
Wow.
So I said, "There's got to be something else down one of these chutes of gates." So we did. And we took a right, and right down at their end there was a bar, and there was one person at the whole bar. So he and I sat there, and Bob was
Bob the bartender.
So we ordered a Vivation to chill out for about an hour, and we just got to talking, and we just said what we'd been doing, and he just got real serious real quick, didn't he? Well, you know, I went to seminary. We were going, you did? He goes, yeah, but I got tired of the political stuff going on and the religiosity I was being taught. It wasn't just about Jesus, and I got out. So now he's a bartender.
Wow.
And we started bringing him the Lord and the gospel of grace and in Christ and all that. And the Lord didn't want us to be in Ruby Tuesday. He wanted us to be down where Bob was. So that's
cool.
where we ended up.
I think with him, and because I know what we told. We said that it's not about the religion; it's about the relationship. And you know, he's tatted up and he's got his hair almost identical to yours.
Longer with the little samurai.
Kind
Oh,
thing
yeah.
in the back.
Cool.
He had the
Little
Viking
Viking
look on
style.
it. Mhm.
Sweet.
But he was feeling us out as far as if we were going to be judgmental. You know,
He probably expected it.
exactly.
So anyway, we had a great conversation with him. We might have another brother listening to us. So if Bob's listening to
Bob
this
the
one,
bartender.
Bob
Cool.
the bartender at Orlando International Airport. I can't remember the name of the bar it was, but it was a great way to end the trip.
And the bar got packed as we were sitting there talking about Jesus, and
You could see people
just-
looking,
just
listening
listening.
to us.
It was great.
So,
That's cool.
It was
Yeah.
cool. It was cool. All right, guys.
I looked up the suicide rate, by the way.
What was it?
It does increase with median income.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, we need to we'll have something like that. We got a couple of cool topics to talk about as we're coming up and changing into the new year, and we just want you to be a part of what we do. It's getting that time of year. If you need a tax deductible or write off, we are a great place. If you decide you would like to give us a love offering, we promise we're going to crush Satan with it somehow, some way, as we deliver the gospel of grace to help men everywhere discover that grace one man at a time. Our next big event, we announced it last week. Tickets are going to go on sale next week. The Grace for the Family Experience, June the 13th, the Father's Day weekend, with Tim Tebow. And Cav Worship is going to be leading the worship that night. Cav Worship.
Nice.
So that'll be a great time. And working on a couple of other big things as well. So we want you to have an amazing Christmas break with the family, the friends, and just keep your mind focused on Jesus this season as the answer to everything. And please keep these children, amigos in Cristo. Please keep them in your prayers. Check out their website. And if you choose you want to support them, please do, or send us a note, and we'll support them for you. So,
Good gift to give. Maybe do something for somebody or whatever it is. Just go out of the box and, maybe give in the name of you and your wife to some organization, whatever it is, and instead of all the stuff that moth and rust will destroy.
Good word, dude.
Good one.
go and quit on. Love
Okay.
you guys so
Love you
much.
guys.
Yep.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. And we'll catch you on the flip side for the Happy New Year. I'm Trey.
Gotta bring Santa in it.
I'm Trey.
I'm Michael.
I'm Brad.
I'm Jeremy.
Santa rules, man.
I know.
We are the
Cussin Christians.
I
Did
told-
Michelle tell you about the text message between us?
No.
In the Facebook?
No.
So I was busy, and she was texting me like different things about somebody that's looking for a job or something. And I just look at a picture and I see it's you and her. Well, the whole time I think it's her, and she said something. I was like, "Oh man, that is S or whatever." Like, yeah, I was talking to her like I was talking to you, and I didn't know. And she goes, and I said, "Well, something about insurance." And she goes, "I've never been in insurance or education." I was like, "I didn't know you were a teacher." Like talking to you, and then she was like, "I was never a teacher." I was like, because I said something about teaching before you got into insurance. I never knew you did
gotcha,
that.
yeah.
She was like, "I've never been in insurance. This is Michelle, Michael Tom. It's Michael that's been in it."
Oops.
I do that a lot because
we-
it's so close. Michelle, Michael,
Yeah.
it's so close.
That's funny.
I've carried